Michael Lachowicz is a guy, we was talking about the semi-regular feature, people you should know. Mm-hmm. You should obviously know Michael's businesses, and you will in just a moment. But Michael Lachowicz is just a guy you should know. Here's a guy, Andrea, who if you met him and you talked to him for a while before he got to what he did, you'd go, well, this guy, a regular Chicago guy, sounds like a tough guy. Probably runs a bike shop where he repairs motorcycles. Right, or he's in a gym, right? Right. He is he's a proprietor of two fine dining restaurants, extraordinary restaurants. And I just love the contradiction. I love the fact that Michael is two people in one. And he joins us now, along with a friend, Brian Duncan, beverage director and sommelier. We'll talk a little bit about the wine and champagne side of this in a second. But, Michael, I just you're a fascinating dude. You really are.
Well, opinions vary, but I appreciate that. Thank you.
So we did your backstory last time, but let's redo it for a second. Okay. Got interested in food when?
I grew up in the apartment above my grandpa's restaurant, so when I was 4 years old, I just wanted to be him. So he'd pound on the ceiling with the broom, and I'd come down in between services, and I'd peel potatoes with him and just watch. I was fascinated with him.
What was the restaurant?
Mr. G's on Fullerton and Costner, 4318 West Fullerton.
Specialty of the house?
It's little Italian-American small ma and pa shop. It was open breakfast, lunch, and dinner, early dinner, 7 o'clock they closed. They sat down, listened to the jukebox, danced to Dean Martin, and went home.
That's a pretty sweet picture.
It was cool. It was very cool.
Yeah, pretty sweet picture. Mm-hmm. Now, most kids grow up going, I'm absolutely going to do this. This is what I'm going to do. This is what I'm going to do. And then they go and they do something else. You fell in love with the food and you stayed there.
I knew. It was just, it sucked me in immediately. I knew exactly what I wanted to do. I never varied from the path. And, I played football freshman, sophomore into junior year, broke my wrist in junior year. And I was like, I'm already in food service class. I'm just going to do this because I never broke anything besides glassware in there. So,
But there's a big difference between that story and then eventually franchising or even just having your own mom and pop shop yourself to the path you took.
I decided I was going to go to culinary school way early on, and I ended up in New York.
But you didn't know what culinary school was then, did you?
I did, because I started working at a place called Indian Lakes Resort in Itasca when I was 14. I started as a...
couldn't have been legal, Andrea.
No, well, it was back in the day, but I started at V&V Paisano Pizzeria when I was 12, sticking my arms in 600-degree pizza ovens I was the oven guy.
Okay.
And I loved it, and I was running these 22-year-old... delivery drivers all over the place, and I was chasing them down for these pizzas. We would do 200 pizzas a night on a Saturday. It was amazing. And the rush of service is what drew me in.
Okay,
right? That's what really grabbed me.
And the experience of people having a great time and a great meal is the great evener, the great conversation piece, all the things.
Instant gratification.
This is nothing close to what your restaurants are now.
Well, we've become more diversified as well, because I just opened up in Evanston, too. We just opened up a Mexican, it's called Fonda Cantina, with my partners, who are both of Mexican descent. Sergio
all right, so tell me about that one. Let's go in reverse order.
Sergio Angel has been with me for 28 years. And he started as a busboy, also probably wasn't legal, back in the day at Riverside Golf Club.
Okay.
He was like 14 years old, and we've been together ever since. And he started with me as a busboy. And now he's my operations manager between both properties, and he's a partner. Miguel Escobar has been with me for 18 years in Winnetka. He's a partner as well in both properties.
And what kind of food? Mexican?
Fonda Cantina the tagline's a memoir of Mexico. So it's affordable, approachable, indigenous, respectful, serious. Their grandmother raised them on this food kind of cuisine. So it's very cool. There's great tacos and everything, but it's all about the story is really fascinating, because they're engaged in the process, and to be able to be served. This is why it works in Winnetka for us at Aboyer and Trois. To be able to be served by the person who's got a vested interest in your happiness and actually just came off of their stove or from their hands. There's something special about that.
That's your grandfather and your grandmother's story.
That's exactly it.
Aboyer and George Trois are both French?
That's correct. No, I'm not.
What?
But
what?
That's the running joke, man. I'm the Polish-Italian guy cooking French food for a Jewish clientele with Mexican waiters. We're like the Statue of Liberty.
I have to tell you,
shockingly cool.
I've known your name for years. I've just met you today, though, face to face for the very first time. One of my favorite restaurants ever, and we would go there every year for my birthday, was a restaurant called Michael.
Oh, yeah.
That's your place.
Yeah, I'm familiar with that location.
Outstanding.
It was restaurant
food.
where Aboyer and Georges Trois stands right now was Restaurant Michael for 15 years.
Yes.
But just again, I'm amazed because the guy I'm talking to now doesn't know French food. Where did you learn French food?
I learned French food in France, and I learned French food in French restaurants. I'm kind of the last.
I think we talked about this last time. What did the snooty French think of you?
Yeah, no, they don't like me because most of the time I do their food better than they do. So
Yes.
I'm sorry.
So do you do that?
I'm unabashedly unapologetic, Steve.
Do you
I
add
like
different ingredients? I mean, you kind of take a dish and then make it your own.
No, everything I make my own because I try to modify it so it fits the current vernacular because I want people to come in more than once every 6 months. I want to be able to have them. Aboyer is a neighborhood restaurant. It's an affordable experience. It's family friendly. It's got a great patio. You come into Aboyer because it's time to eat. And then you realize, oh, wow, this is really nice. I like to come back as many times as I possibly can because it's so approachable. I avoided putting a burger on the menu for 25 years. And I just stopped fighting.
Yeah, yeah.
And the burger we have on the menu there is extraordinary. Right? It's a beautiful burger. It's ground Wagyu trimmings with prime short rib. Gruyere cheese, caramelized onions, Dijonnaise on a brioche bun with a fried egg and sliced pork belly.
Just made the entire city of Chicago
Yeah,
hungry.
exactly.
It's a beautiful burger. It's tasty. When I go there with my son and my wife, I have the burger.
Yeah.
And I love steak frite and I love, Dover sole and I love those things, but I'm not making that burger at home.
Any French food you won't eat?
I'm not a huge fan of things like kidneys.
Yeah, me neither.
But I love sweetbreads. I love foie gras. I like having them. They're functional.
Snails.
Yeah, no, I like having them at least one.
Well, listen, man, they taste like what they filter. I gotta tell you, I don't care what you do with them. I'm not going down that road.
It's Aboyer, Georges Trois, and the new place
is Fonda Cantina it's 1735 Benson in Evanston, right in the corner of Benson and Clark.
Open now.
It is open, been open for 6 months, and we're just getting ready for Northwestern campus to come back. So,
and everybody can find these places in one area, in one website, or
Aboyer and Georges Trois is the Georges Trois Group, GeorgesTroisGroup.com.
Yeah.
And Fonda Cantina is eat at Fonda Cantina.
Okay, when we come back, what champagne goes with popcorn, amongst other things?
Yeah,
from a sommelier of renown. Stand by. You'll meet Brian Duncan next. Back on the Big 89 WLS, Michael Lachowicz is here. The Georges Trois Group. And a brand new great Mexican restaurant to short-hand it in Evanston. And introduce your wingman here, if you would, please.
I have the auspicious privilege of introducing Mr. Brian Duncan. He knows more about wine than anybody I've ever met in my life, and he has forgotten more than I'll ever know. He is a privilege to work with. A
sommelier is a trained occupation designation that must be earned, and once it's earned, it's valued and treasured, and then you, I would guess, spend most of your time going up to people going, they don't know what they're doing. I've got to help them.
All right.
Who does that to me?
We're going to do a little blind taste test here in a second, but what is your favorite go-to? Wine-wise, you like a red, you like a white, you like a specific.
I love the world of wine, but I came up with this answer to sort of put an end to it. If I was stranded on a desert island,
yes,
and I had one thing that they would do for me regularly,
a wine press.
They could deliver anything to me that I wanted. I would want Salon champagne.
Oh,
because I'm stranded. And each morning I wake up, I would be depressed until I realized my Salon champagne is coming. And then I would perk up. Champagne is inherently celebratory, right?
Yes.
When someone hands you a glass, the first thing you do is you straighten your back and go, oh, something special about to happen.
Yes.
That's very
you
true.
Want to do a toast,
and then the other clincher is the fact that I'm surrounded by seafood.
Ah, yes.
And what a great
why leave your
pairing
island?
opportunity.
Yeah, because
so
my
leave
question,
nothing to chance.
My question would have been, if they're bringing you champagne, why can't they rescue you, Gilligan? But that's another.
Can I explain the contrast between myself and Brian? This is why he's wearing a linen suit and I'm wearing a T-shirt. I want a Twix bar, and he wants Salon wine. I got issues that can't be explained in a short segment, so you're going to have to book me again, Steve.
All right. No, honestly, you're coming back all the time.
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to do a blind taste test here. What do you got?
Well, we have sparkling wine in your glass, and the first thing that I get people to do is I was convinced that they've never been shown how to properly taste. So you engage all your senses. So we look at the wine, usually over a white surface or tablecloth, and we just engage the visual. The color's kind of a green gold.
Beautiful.
And it's luminescent in the glass. And then the next thing we want you to do is to begin to swirl the wine around in the glass. There's actually a reason for that. It causes the aromas to lift and elevate in the glass, and you want to get your nose into the glass.
Now you stick your nose right in, right?
Right in there.
Right,
Cognac,
get it in there. Get it in there.
Cognac, Armagnac, you breathe out here. So you want to bring wine right under your nose. You close your eyes, which eliminates distraction and bias. We don't know what the label is, so that the reason I do blind tastings is you come in the door thinking you don't like rosé or you don't like Cabernet, you're already turned off. So your reaction is not going to be honest.
So when do they sip?
So then after we smell it, take short sniffs. And the idea, everything that we've ever touched, tasted, or smelled is recorded in your brain.
Yeah.
The reason I can do this more efficiently and correctly is because of repetition. I do this more than the average person.
Sure, of course you do.
So it creates an element for recall the more you do. So,
all right, so after sniff.
And then after sniff, what I want you to do is take a generous sip.
Okay.
But I don't want you to, at the count of 3, but I don't want you to swallow till I tell you to.
Okay.
1,
all right.
2, 3.
And the sip has happened, all right? They're holding it in their mouth. All of them. Turns out it's a stunt. We're trying to see how long they can hold it in their mouth.
And swallow.
And swallow.
Now, I'm looking at you all, and you're lapping your tongues up against the roof of your mouth. Why are you doing that?
Because that's where the taste is.
I'm
where I
getting more
taste it
flavor
most.
out of
Yeah.
it.
Incorrect.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, I
So-
didn't know there was a quiz.
There's an anatomy lesson that no one has ever told most people. If this is your tongue, the way my hand is shaped, and this is the tip where my fingers are,
Okay.
the middle finger and the 2 long fingers on either side, at the tip of your tongue is the only place that you perceive whether something is fruity or sweet. Nowhere else on your tongue.
Is that right?
I did
Correct.
not know
I didn't know
that.
Then past that, on either side at the front, is where you perceive if there's a salt or saline-like flavor profile, or
Okay.
if there's any salt present. In the middle of your tongue is where you perceive weight. Have you ever heard people say, oh, it's a light body red or a full body white?
yeah.
And you have no idea what they're talking about?
Yeah, neither do they.
Think of light body as non-fat milk. Think of medium body as whole milk. And think of full body as heavy cream.
Oh, that's a perfect analogy. It's a great way to put it.
And then in the
Yeah.
very back of your tongue is the only place that you perceive whether something is bitter and then how long the finish is. But the key for our purposes, especially today, is on the wide sides of your tongue is where you perceive acidity. So let's do it again. 1, 2, 3, take a sip.
Ready?
The sip.
Okay, you're
Let's see. Let's check the acidity. All right. Now, wait. And
Swallow. You're salivating, aren't you?
Yes.
How do I know that?
Because it's affecting the back of the tongue.
So acidity present will make you salivate. It's that tartness that you get with like a citrus fruit, and your mouth starts watering. If I'm a great, wine person or sommelier or even a chef, I manipulate your experience from the beginning of the meal to the end. The reason we give you sparkling wine or champagne is because we want your taste buds standing at attention, and you sort of yearning for the next sip or the next bite. And I create a piece of music with Michael's food
it's like
night
art.
after night. And there should be a beginning, a middle, and an end, and hopefully a crescendo at the end. But champagne and sparkling wine are the most prolific wines on the face of the earth.
And a
Food.
fully enhanced experience is why this fine dining thing works. All right, now listen, don't go away. We're going to wrap this show up, but we're going to continue to record this segment, and then we're going to play it back in the morning, so you'll be able to get part 2 of this. Are you listening now?
Perfect.
We'll put it online on social as well, but we're also going to play this segment when we continue.
Love it.